Hello and welcome, beautiful collective. I was just about to do a card reading on my tarot channel when I received a message that is so incredibly clear that they told me I was going to come on and do a channel message and really dig into this. I want to tell you I had an event on the beach this morning. My husband and I were out walking, and we were walking down the beach just talking about how all the energy is awakening right now. And I was about to tell him how we are pulling our energy back to ourselves and how Gaia is doing this when we noticed down the beach there was a family that had this parrot, this bird, quite a large one, and they were placing it on the sand, and they were taking pictures and having it on their hand, and all these things. So we were walking towards them, just watching, and there was a lady on the beach with her baby, and they placed this bird in front of this lady on the sand and were taking pictures. And suddenly the man leaned down and picked up the bird, and I looked down the beach, and there was a dog, a large dog that was running towards this scene and likely had seen the parrot on the beach. And of course, the man picked up the parrot and he turned away from the baby and the baby's mom on the beach in order to protect the parrot because he thought the dog was after the parrot. Well, the dog pounced on top of the mom and the child, and this was a young child, like maybe a year old, I want to say, if even, and knocked the child off the mother and then began to paw at the child. My husband and I instantly jumped into fight mode. We weren't leaving anywhere. We jumped into fight mode and began running towards the dog, yelling to get that dog off of that child. And the dog saw us and began running towards us, and jumping in the sand and everything. And my husband hit the dog, and we were able to get over to the woman to make sure that the child was okay while my husband was detaining the dog, so to speak. I was able to get over to the mother and the child. The child was, of course, all covered in sand, and the child was in total and complete shock, and so was the mom. She was just standing there holding the child and just staring, and the child was just staring. Like they were in like trauma, total trauma with what had just happened, not understanding, like just complete shock, like this just happened on the beach. So I instantly checked to make sure that the child was okay. There was the man and another elderly woman that was there with him as well, likely the grandparents. And so I began clearing the child. And as soon as I began to clear the child and putting my hand on her crown and releasing the energy, she came out of shock and began to cry, which is a really good sign, because as we release this energy, traumatic energy from our body, and transmute it and give it back to the mother to be able to heal, we can then heal ourselves. So I was so happy that the child began to cry, and the mom as well then kind of came back into realization, I guess, of where she was and what had happened, like, really snapping her out of that shock. And I let them know, that I was an energy healer and that she needed to be cleared. She needed to be cleared of this traumatic energy. So as we stood there chatting, then the mom took the child, because we were at the ocean, took the child into the ocean and began to clear her with salt water, putting her in the ocean and moving. And I mean, that's a big belief here as well, that, with the ocean, the cleansing of the ocean, a lot of people here have really, they're either, it seems like, Catholic or the earth, right? Pachamama. And so then the gentleman that was there lifted up the parrot, and the parrot began just squawking at us, very like just like a scream. So my husband put out his hand and he set onto his hand, and the parrot was looking at me and just squawking, like needing to be cleared. So I put my hand out, and the parrot came onto my hand as well and began to squawk, and I began to clear. The parrot just through intention, until he quieted down, and my husband took him back and then handed him back to the man. So not only did the child, the mother, the grandparents, my husband and I, and the parrot all had trauma from that event, so did the dog and the dog's owner. So my husband went over to the dog's owner in between all of this chaos that was happening of clearing the child, and talked to the dog's owner, and the dog was just the owner was like, the dog was just playing. Well, yeah, he had a lot of puppy in him. And that is very true. The dog was just playing, but the dog did not realize the size and the strength that it was in comparison to that little child. And that child could have been really desperately hurt. And the message within here that they're wanting me to talk about is that, there, 144 as I say this. The message within here is that even though we can have good intentions, sometimes things can happen that go awry. It is not always a bad intention that creates trauma. Okay, so we're talking now about things that might happen within our childhood and things like that. Like, for example, the dog just wanted to play. He had no idea of his own strength. He was a puppy, just that he is big. So sometimes things happen that are beyond our control, and that we have no way of understanding the intention that was behind it. So thankfully, we were there and we were able to clear that energy. And I was clearing that energy during my entire walk. I kept feeling the surges of energy that was coming through me. And when I came in here, I showered and everything when I got home, and then I was told I was going to do some reading. So I was like, okay. And I picked up my cards, and when I split the deck, it said reclaim your energy and healing. I was like, okay. There is a lot of things that are happening right now to be able to reclaim our energy from past trauma, things that are happening. And with me clearing that child's energy, that family's energy, I reclaimed a part of mine. I was very open about who I am and my abilities. And I knew in that moment that I had the ability to clear that child. I knew in that moment I had the ability to clear that energy within that group, to be able to help them to heal so they didn't carry that trauma with them throughout their lifetime, so that there wasn't a constant fear within that child of dogs and the mom of dogs. And then it creates that dynamic, and when we create that fear energy, that is when that fear is attracted to us. So in being able to release that trauma from them, that is not something that they will become a magnet for. They now have a healed energy sitting within them, so they are able to help others upon their path. And this is things that is happening within us, within our shadow work, the things that we fear. And a lot of times we look at shadow as things that, we think are really bad, and they're not necessarily bad. A shadow is a part of us that we are denying. And for me, for example, going on the beach, denying and being afraid of showing who I really and truly am because of the repercussions that I have experienced throughout my entire life of being a healer, of being a seer, of being this energetic being that I am, of carrying this Elohim, this seraphim, this dragon energy, this angelic energy, the ability to heal. And we all have these things, you guys. If you're on here with me, you have these things. And it is about being able to claim that, reclaiming ourself, bringing ourselves back into a state of healing because we are reclaiming it. And this is shadow work. This is parts of us that we deny because we are afraid to show them, because it might be in our subconscious that something happened to us. But not even within our subconscious, it is within our own consciousness that we are not as accepted. What is going to happen to us because we react in this way or respond in this way, or because this is part of who we are, that we always feel that we are an outcast within society. And I find this really interesting as I'm talking about this. I noticed I'm getting a list that is coming back into my speech, and I have not been having this for the last little while. So once again, this is something that I am very conscious of these things about myself that I look at to deem as being perfect, or perfectionism in things that we have to do. When we trust our heart, when we allow ourselves to follow the path that we are asked to be on, we are in the right place at the right time. And that is what I did this morning. I was like, I'm going for a walk on the beach, and told my husband, and lately if he doesn't want to go, I just go by myself. I'm like, okay, I'm going anyway. And he said to me, okay, just wait for a few minutes and I'll go with you. And I said, okay. So I got ready, and we were delayed a few minutes. But in that delay of that few minutes, we were exactly where we were meant to be in order for me to clear that energy from that traumatic situation that happened to that beautiful family. And now they are able to go on with their day. They are able to enjoy their moment on the beach. The gentleman with the dog now understands the power that that dog has. And even though they may be very friendly and only want to play, they are capable of creating trauma and basically havoc because of their size, of not understanding their power that they hold within them. And this is a message to you. You have the ability to create because of the power that you hold within you. You have no idea the amount of power that you have within you. And right now we are sitting in a time of being tested for our power. How will we turn? Will we turn towards it, or will we turn away from it? Will we turn towards it, or will we turn away from it? Personally, I am going to be turning towards it. And it might be a little bit scary, but at the same time, it's pretty damn exciting to say, okay, I'm calling my power back to me. I'm reclaiming all that I am, because I am all things. I am part of the one. I am that, and so are you. And we are sitting at a point right now where we are sitting in an energy that we are healing and that we are healed. We are being healed by the tests that we are facing right now, that we are walking into. And we are walking into these tests to show our endurance, to show our commitment, to show our power, okay? To show our direction. What direction are we being led? And I feel so very grateful for the energy that came to me this morning and what I was shown within that energy, and the power of non-judgment within that energy, because I was not upset with the dog. I was not upset with anyone for doing anything. I simply was concerned with releasing that trauma. There was no judgment there. There was no harm intended, but there is still trauma that is created. And that is what we need to focus on, is releasing that, is standing together in love without judging. Because as soon as we judge, there is a defensive energy that comes up, and that is what creates the conflict and the friction. Okay? So, beautiful souls, I wanted to come on here today and talk to you about this. And just, I am finding that the messages that I am being asked to bring are simply messages of life, of living, of experience, of what we are here to be, and really discovering the truth of ourselves, and really discovering how beautiful life can be, and how you can be in exactly the right place at the right time when you follow your heart. And how beautiful an outcome can be when there is no judgment, when there is no resentment, when there is no guilt for that. In releasing that back into Gaia and allowing her to take that energy on for us. She is our filter. She is our filter. Okay. Awakanash katai. Awakanash katai. Arakata. Arakata awi ana ayas kata. Awikana iyas kata. Ikara, ikara, ikara. Awikana katai. Inai ara tikai. Ish arata. Arata ish kata. Katai nikam arati. Arati kata. Tish arai na ha. Ara ni harakata, 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 arakati, 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 ankatataya, ankatataya, arititish katai, nakata, nakatari, anayara, tish, aratata, arakatati, aratihamash, katorati, kata, ara ni harata, kata, taka, 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 Thank you for joining me here today, beautiful souls. And until next time, I am asking you to please remember to always let love be your guide. Within that, you will remember your true sacredness.